Welcome back. Welcome back. Good afternoon. Got a little over 10 minutes. Got our take profit into close. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Been trending up all day, right? From the open. Big bid from the open. It's sort of a. I don't really know what the word is. Sort of transcending a bit of the complications of the last 2 weeks. And you can see it through the bid through the melt up. So that was good confirmation. Again, of course, you're going to take profit going into close here. That's the way of the land. The law is being laid down. In terms of this close, if you didn't buy anything, yeah, I'd be buying. And I think when you think about take profit, would tomorrow be a take profit day? I would say this is probably the take profit. So again, we talked about it earlier. You're likely to get a big bid day, big buy day today, and then of course, in a historical context, you take profit the next day, usually returning about halfway into the candle, about halfway. This is basically that, right? Now we usually see some take profit, but this is enough take profit that it almost takes out the tempo for tomorrow. Now I'm talking about the SPY. Now the Nasdaq is a little different. But I want you to think about this real quick, is that we're expecting Asia to be up tomorrow in reaction to what they see today. Hang Seng was not up today. It was actually down. And so starting off the week down in Asia, waiting to react to us, big day in tech for us today. Hang Seng is all tech. They are going to be up tomorrow, which should lead our futures higher, which again, like I talked about, and we all know, all price moves after hours and in pre-market action, not during intraday. We get some nice intraday action today that we were able to react to. So we got a little bit of a gift there because, again, there was only a few things that we were really able to pick up Friday on the growth side, sticking with really a lot of our plays. And so today we had a lot of time to react. I would say right now is a good time to go ahead, put some more on, right? Don't go, oh man, hey Don, I just put the funds in my account. It's going to take me 4 days. Okay, go back to bed, right? But in terms of this take profit, I'd be looking for this to open above the level here tomorrow for the Nasdaq. If we look in relation everywhere, Dow's now back in the trend line. This is likely setting up a big day for that tomorrow. If we have a full equity risk on day again tomorrow, you're likely going to see more again here. This has continued to perform well. Big small caps, very nice move. Considering the way it started, right? I'm talking about tomorrow should have a nice move. Considering where it started here today, pretty good spot for it to gap into here tomorrow. If you take it into context with the whole equity market moving together, so everything kind of is pointing up to another good day tomorrow. What do we got? 8 minutes. Dollar again is trading sideways, so there's really nothing to be seen over here. There's really no macro influences. We've already got the Fed day out from last week. Volatility still acting like it's fucking zero. So no reason not to just continue to be bid. Keep buying shit. You can't really mess it up this week, which is nice. You can kind of play it however you want. I would be taking advantage of every opportunity, sort of like within this opportunity here. If you had a hard time during today, this is kind of where you make the money is during close, this kind of action. When are you going to buy? When are you going to do it? You're sitting there watching right now. Yeah, signs do point to green tomorrow. You could go either way. You're right. Some of you are going, well, I mean, it's going down right now. You're right. It could go down tomorrow. So, I mean, okay. But if you're in a position right now, you bought it open, you're in a position right now, you could be saying, well, I better take profit now because it could go down tomorrow. So what are you going to do? Right? Did you end up putting on travel? Get some support buys. Got some support buys. They're not really support anymore. Not really support anymore. This is support. I'm going to keep them on for tomorrow, yeah. Give them a chance for tomorrow. Again, we got like growth today coming through, but again, what have we did this dance all the last 2 weeks where tech oversells because of yields rising, and then the next day yields steady, and then all the headlines say, "Oh, yields are steady, growth in tech rebounds." Like again, it's just kind of bullshit. Anyway, it's just kind of back and forth. Um, Still, value is going to be. Those are very good trades, right? They have a lot of points. That side of things still has a lot of points, and they're volatile. There's a lot of volatility. What was the bet on? What was the bet for travel this week? Is that volatility would increase this week. There'd be more movement this week than last week. Last week there was barely any movement. It was just sideways trading, tightening from the big week from before. Yeah, this is a good time to be putting everything on. Travel, yeah, travel's enough volatility that I'm all for it. And again, what are all the macro signs we have that the economy is going to get going, right? It's fine to it's really fine to even take that stance on some of the trades, right? It's not like fully technical to we of course are we sort of we enter and exit our trades technically, but when we think about what we're trading, sometimes you can add some points of bullishness just due to the fact that yeah, the economy's reopening. Fucking buy travel. It's basically that's it. That's literally all it is. That's all it takes for some flows. So this is a nice tightening right here. That's really good sign right there. Get some bid here. I would expect after hours to be green. So like right off the close. That might give enough of a boost that if you're buying right now. The only problem is that if you're buying the ask right now, that'd be a little tricky. I wouldn't be buying ask right now. You've got 4 minutes. Wouldn't be buying the ask right now. I'd be trying to still get try to get the bid, get it to come down to the bid, split the spread. If you're buying it close, today's kind of a good example of a day that you want to get the price there. So see how you should be able to get filled on a bid price with the way the price looks right now. If you're trying to buy a close right now, no reason why you shouldn't be able to get filled on the bid. At least splitting the spread, not buying the ask. There's enough tightening here, enough tightening that the spread's gonna be tight. What do we got? We got 3 minutes. We'll go over individual positions after the market closes, but just watching price here. If we look at the relationship between the two, buy value, a little bit more tightening on the other side, but whoa, what's going on here? No ticks at all. I'm not sure what that's about. That's some. There you go. You're getting like full equilibrium right now in the market. So I would say green after hours is very likely. Again, this is just take profit on who's taking profit here. Everyone that got everything from Friday. Everyone that traded from Friday, they're taking off some of their positions today, which is, I talked about this earlier. There's just trades that, yeah, you want to push your trades and your winnings, but there are some trades that you're just going to take the gain from Friday, right? You put a bet on over the weekend that we were going to be up Monday. Here you go. You got it. That was it, right? We have plenty of trades that function in that sort of way. I talked about a few of them that are not going to be like that. ZI, for instance, I'm still pushing this position here. If it goes down tomorrow, historically, then yeah, that's a part of it. Of course, I'm gonna have to take profit on some short terms, but that's to be expected, right? That's to be expected. But you again, there's times when you have a weekend trade, you just take profit. Oh well. A lot of tightening here. I like it. Minute 30. I don't see any individual positions that are like doing anything at close. So just regular take profit at close. A lot of points everywhere. A lot of points everywhere. I mean, you're getting some wide spreads on some of the more popular tickers today. Like look at that. I don't know what that is, but yeah, some volatility and some spreads, right? Everyone's trying to get involved, and when everyone tries to get involved, you get some spreads. We'll see. Historically, of course, tomorrow would be on like the tech side, since it did like 2% on the Nasdaq. You would take profit some of that tomorrow, right? I think again, there's too many things that are lending towards an upside tomorrow based on what we've seen so far today. So that's you know if price is going to follow historical context tomorrow, then oh well. I'm going to bet on what I see here and now, right? I'm betting on what I see here and now. Sort of like the whole spiel I did earlier today. Very tight spread. Oh yeah, there it goes. Closed. Oh, are we gonna get the green after hour? There you go. There you go. That's a green one. What do I say? Green one. Alrighty, folks. That was good. That was good. Today was a good day. Today was a very good day. Let's zoom out, take a look. Coming from Friday. Now, it's important to keep in mind what we thought from Friday. We expected to be up today, right? We put a lot of bets on at the end of last week. Talked a lot about how prices were going to be up this week. A big thing last week, though, is I talked a lot about we were betting on the market to put. We're basically betting on gamma. We're betting on acceleration this week for price to get moving this week because last week we didn't really get anywhere. We kind of just from where we started, we kind of just finished a bit lower. And if we look at even the value side, we were basically break even on the week, right? We were just kind of flat on the week. Didn't really get much movement. We have an understanding that there's some inflationary pressure. The economy's rebounding, right? We had FOMC last week, and so we kind of had to get through some volatility, but we didn't get the volatility in the price movement, right? And price basically never moved, and so we basically bought a bunch of stuff on Friday, expecting Monday to be up today across the market, right? Across the market. I mean, think about it. I was already buying fucking Facebook last week, right? I mean, there was not really many volatile trades to make, and so I think this is probably a good note coming from something that I trashed on for so long, and then I went long on Facebook, and here we are. So even bets like this, obviously, sort of we're setting up this week. Today, I don't think again anyone expects like this very strong growth in the sense that this is going to be like a strong trend and whatnot, but we expected it to at least trade up to the level, and we expected that there was going to be chances, right, in all equities, because equities are risk on, and so I would say today's a very strong day. There's still some probably going to be jitters this week if you get some sort of, I don't know. Like I said, the banks are kind of dicking around with yields to try to get the Fed to do something. I think we finally have removed that, but it may be a thing. But I expect full trend to the upside. So we got good confirmation today for the start. Again, you wouldn't really get today if that wasn't going to be the case for the week. You wouldn't be buying up here if you didn't expect price to continue and if you weren't going to push those positions. I would say the take profit or just from the profits from people entered on Friday, because again, that's you're going to take that gain, and there's some people that may have even just wanted to get a better average, and so they're taking profit and looking to maybe rebuy off of that low. So I would say that any take profit today was just normal healthy price movement. This is a very strong day, right? Very strong day. And I think something important to note is, so I mentioned Facebook, but something to note is even just Apple. I think this was a great trade today. Again, I've been shitting on Apple for so long, and it's a terrible chart. And I shorted it. I mean, it was a straddle, but I shorted it. And then I talked about how there's no trades here. There's nowhere in here. There's actually nowhere in here that you can find a trade. I would say the short was really the only thing I can see because of the way it turned out. Maybe at the moment it was a little, a little out there, but again, it paid, and I think there's a lot of reasons why that was a good strategy to begin with. And I used a lot of that idea for over here, is that there's really nothing here, but there was really nothing here either. It was just coming into support. We were in support over here, but the problem was this continued back and forth fucking battle over yields and how growth was getting discounted in the future, when in the reality it doesn't really fucking matter. Like the reality is that that's a thing. Yes, if yields are rising and we're going to and it's going to influence interest rates to come back sooner, right? We're going to rise them in 2023 now. We're stating that's still fucking a long ways away, and it's still not even going to affect anything at that point. But yeah, in the future, it would affect the cost of capital, which, like I've talked about, that's exactly what it does. And so it had its effect. It had its effect. Absolutely. But is it going to continue for fucking ever that we need to discount price? No, it's not going to happen forever. So sort of coming into today, it did seem like, okay, we did so much of this back and forth, and even again fucking it up last week where we had FOMC day. Everyone bought when it should have been only value buying based on what came out at 2:00 with the dot plot, and then at 2:30 when Powell spoke, it should have only been value, but even tech came up, and then it fucking sold the next day. Right? It's just bad trading. I talked about it. And so that sort of presents some discount. It presents a tempo loss and it presents bad trading. And what are we going to short Apple over here? No, that'd be insane. That'd be stupid. It's just stupid. And so it kind of, with everything seeming risk on, I think it's a good trade here. And again, it's not that it needs to come to all-time high straight. It doesn't need to be a straight line. It doesn't need to be a straight line to all-time high. Okay? It doesn't need to be a straight line. It's the fact that if you enter down here, it's a lot easier to manage this trade. What else are you going to do with the fucking money right now? If you're already in positions and everything else, yeah, there's opportunities, but is this not an opportunity here? And so, again, it doesn't need to be straight. It may take a little bit of time in confidence boosting, but as long as there's no yields fuckery, and I don't think it's going to happen much anymore, they are what they are, right? It's just a baseline now. We're going to move on. Okay, there's inflation coming. The economy's picking up. Move on. That's it, right? It's going to happen. But it doesn't stop price from moving. When has price ever stopped moving for anything, right? It will always continue moving, whether it's up or down, but it's going to keep moving, betting on more volatility, right? Betting on volatility and movement. You've got a lot of ideas in here, like a trend line through here being broken, and also the fact that this thing is 20% away from its high. NASDAQ is getting, it's still far away from its high, but it's getting closer. And S&P's been trading at its all-time high. The Dow's been trading at all-time high. Small caps, everything's been trading all-time high. Everything's risk on. The market says there's no volatility. Market's been saying for fucking since COVID started, there's no volatility, right? If this comes down, it's going to be a nightmare, and it's going to get super crowded. I really hope it doesn't, and I've talked about this before. This is not where volatility is. Because if market starts to fucking rally, that means there's volatility. That's what betting on volatility is. But the VIX is just doing its own fucking thing, and it's only correlated to the downside. If this comes down, guys, to the teens level, we're gonna reach all-time high in like a fucking week. If this comes down here tomorrow and comes all the way down to teens this week, we'll be at all-time high on the NASDAQ this week. That's the fucking reality. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's what would happen. That's literally what would happen, because there's so much tied into, again, risk is being priced by liquidity and flows. If you remove this, everything is priced against what risk is. And as soon as that's removed, you no longer really have to worry about that. Cost is no longer an issue. It's just a buy everything situation. We've kind of already been in that, but it's been more pick your spots, which why value did so well, because value is still protecting against what's happening in the market, and that's why it was such a good angle to take, because that would still, if the market's going to go all risk on, it's not like the Dow is going to stop. It's going to keep going up, right? Small caps will continue going up. Energy will keep going. Banks will keep going. But again, growth would just explode because it's been so beat up. It's just been so beat up. And so this week, hey, that's what we're looking for. We're going to try to, I think, listen, you can't time anything, but we've done pretty well at timing things. And I think it's important to use that confidence. I get a little overconfident doing things, but until I fucking hit my head and I'm wrong and lose a bunch of money, I'm just going to keep being confident with it. And listen, it hasn't fucking happened. It will happen. I mean, it's happened before. You know, you get overconfident, make trades, but what's happened so far is I think just a little bit too much confirmation, and we're in the right lane, trading the right way. When the opportunity comes, we're going to take it. And again, I'm not going to bet against the market right now when everything is continued to move. Again, we couldn't take the trade before. I like the trade here, so we're going to be really aggressive again this week, and we were today. We were absolutely aggressive from the open. If we take a look, okay, again, ZI was from last week, so just want to mention this trade quickly because this is separate from what we're doing right now. We made trades from last week into this week, betting on volatility. So sort of a convexity trade, betting on gamma, that there was going to be higher volatility this week than last week. It's, again, the creation of wealth, taking something of low value and turning it into higher value. Or the other idea, which is qualitative, is that you're convincing someone else that something has higher value than lower value, which you do through betting, which is through options, speculating, and then the speculation comes in and you get a move like this. This is exactly what you bet on. Was that it's not just that yes, it's that the price is higher, but it's more the speed at which that happens. That's how you use options, is the speed at which it happens. I didn't buy fucking June's over here. No, bought April's, right? And so that's how you bet on the speed. You're betting on the volatility to come, right? So that's a good confirmation there. Again, I talked enough about that. Apps is a great example of another trade from open today. We are very much on this side of the market. We've been trading this chart for fucking a while, and there's been plenty of volatility. And so this would be sort of separate from the fact, and this is more about the swinging in the nature in which this chart is going to trade. This is, again, if the price is there and it's moving, take the trade. This is just opportunity. I talked about it from open. As soon as this candle starts to develop, there should be no question of buying on support on this. You could buy support here, get stopped out. Buy support here. Well, you're not getting stopped out when you're up 10%. So there you go. SunPower. We just made this trade, and here you are now. You make this trade. Why? Because, again, why did we make this trade? Well, one, we had a daily candle pull into support. And so then the next daily candle opening on support, we always buy on support in that instance. And because we were bullish, we understood that, yes, growth has been beat up and not doing well, but we understand that the clean energy side is outside of that. It's been getting hurt by the average, but it is outside of that and can create its own velocity. We took the trade here, and we're pretty successful with it coming into the trend. And then we took the trade again here. We're looking to push this trade, though. And it's important on a trade like this that you're not making the trade for just today. You could take profit today. I'm not going to tell you that you're going to regret taking profit or something like all the fucking memers out there, but this is certainly one where if you make this trade here, you're not making the trade just for today. This was not a weekend trade. It just happens to be the timing happened on the weekend. You're going to push this trade, right? This is certainly a trade that you're pushing, and listen, it may not come all the way up here and trade back into a trend or anything like that. That's okay. But the point is that you're planning on it, and the trade is to plan for that and to make that and to try to conceive some of that growth up here. And so again, these kind of trades, there's plenty of the trades that are sort of around that idea of the clean energy side. Now, again, we saw. Let me bring up like the Tesla chart. Now, it's important to separate some of these ideas, right? It's important to separate some of these ideas. I talked about the problem with the Tesla chart over here is that it's tied not only to the average, it's tied to the EVs, and then it's tied to the ARC flows, which they're not getting flows yet. And so these are you still need some more of what's hurting it to come back. So again, you need flow on the ARC side for Tesla to get going. You need EVs to get going, which they're stuck because Tesla is also not moving. So again, there's a few other things that need to come here. I talked about this trade. If this opened right where it closed, I would have taken the trade there just like all the other trades. The problem is that Kathy decided to say that price is going to be 3,000 by 2025 or whatever. And so it gapped up a few percent. and it causes it to lose its momentum. Yeah, it's up from Friday, but it's hard to enter that trade today. If it's opened over here, we could have took the trade, and it probably would be higher than it is right now, and it probably would have turned into momentum. This is sort of like the problem with where this chart is, and also how tech has been reacting to forces which really don't fucking matter. It shouldn't really matter that someone's selling in the bond market and it stops Apple from moving, but it has been, and it has been hurting it. Just like over here, something that somebody giving a different price target actually hurts the price here. Yeah, it's up today, but it's the movement that matters. In this market, the only thing that matters is movement, not the price. No one cares what the price of Tesla is. Nobody cares that it's at $670. Nobody cared that it was at 800 and whatever dollars up here. No one cares about the price. They care about the speed and the movement in which it's moving, in the direction that it's moving. Everyone over here cares about Tesla because it's making big moves, and it's got a lot of acceleration to it. It's got a lot of velocity. Nobody cares about it when it's not doing any movement, right? Nobody cares about it. It's not the value. This thing could be $5,000 for all I care. The only thing that matters is how it's moving. That's the market. That's literally how the market is. And so again, until this is allowed to get movement, it got cucked today. Now this trend line is mattering because I talked about it at lunch and I was like, oh, there it goes, but it got rejected. So it got rejected. We're going to need to see how this does tomorrow. Can we buy this tomorrow to open? I mean, it's possible. It's possible to buy it on this 670 level. I think it's possible. We're going to look for it. We're going to see, right? There could be more tightening. Again, we're going to look at all of the EVs together. We got confirmation on the clean energy side. I liked this forward entry from the low over here. I thought that was pretty cute. With the GM chart, I think, again, we've categorized this chart with EVs. I think this was a great opportunity here today. This chart did not really move the same as others last week. It just continued to move, which is, again, we were a part of this trade. You didn't need to get out of this trade. Today is definitely difficult. I don't know if anyone was in it, but this was definitely difficult. There's not really a good way to deal with a day like today when if you were pushing this long position, you have to take profit on this. This candle is just too much, breaking trends. You've probably been in it for too long. You're losing tempo. You need the acceleration to continue the movement. But it's also a buy down here, so this is a hard one where if you're in an option position, if you're in shares, it doesn't fucking matter because you're right back where you started. But the problem is with options, this is too much. And then at the same time that you're taking profit, you want to re-enter. That's difficult. But I do like the move for the upside. I think it's healthy price movement, and I expect it to go up tomorrow. So that was a good buy down there. Hard to manage position, though, and that will happen, especially on a day that you're expecting everything to be risk on, and then this comes down here. It's like, And it's, again, because there's been take profit. Again, this is such a big move. It's going to take profit, of course. You can take profit at different times and in different ways. Just like today, I mean, we have take profit on value because it's up a significant amount, right? But again, there's some trades that are definitely difficult to deal with when we sort of have a market that continues to just be based on movement, right? Semiconductors obviously had a very good day. UMC from last week did very well today. I'm going to bring up NVIDIA. NVIDIA was a very good entry over here. I think that this is a good example, again, of a chart that has a ton of supply, and really the bet comes down to, are you going to bet on price moving through that supply? Yes. Okay, then take the trade immediately. Don't wait for it to move through. Take the trade because you're going to get so many more points when it's on top, which if you took that position, you did. If you took the trade as soon as you could over here, as soon as this started over here, the points that happen here after the supply are significantly greater than the points that happened in here, right? Even for just 1% move or for 0.5% move. So I think semiconductors, with the move they did today, which is to be expected, they are the more bullish part of the growth side. And again, I keep fucking beating the drum about this, but semis and the whole chip sector, whether it has to do with automobiles, fucking TVs, it doesn't matter. There's a supply crisis going on right now. And what happens when you remove supply? Price goes up, right? And it's not gonna hinder demand because the demand can't change. those other companies and other products, they need those chips. They need all of this to get going. Not specifically Nvidia or some shit, but it's the same problem that they're having. That they can't make what they're trying to make because they don't have the goddamn supply to do it, right? And so price will go up. The same thing will happen. The same thing will happen in the equity market. Remember, the equity market is the only market in the world that is dictated and affected by every other market, whether it's the bond market, whether it's some economics of some country somewhere that produces the minerals to make the damn thing, volatility market, politics, everything interacts with the equity market. So even on a supply level, prices increasing on the supply chain will increase the price of equities just naturally. Good example of this is energy. Energy going up because crude goes up, right? Oil goes up, energy goes up. These sort of things matter, right? And so that's why we were already starting to get hot with it over in this area. There wasn't really any possibilities on Nvidia or anything like that. AMD still sucks, but we were taking a stab at UMC and TSM at this over here, right? We took a stab at over here. This is looking to be a better play here, double bottomed out of its mind like the other growth charts. Again, there's going to be a ton of double bottoms this week. That's just where the market is. And so that and TSM over here, this looks to be very good. And so we'll see how those shape up. But again, we're sort of back into the swing of things on the semi side. And I think that's an important thing to look at. There's a few trades from the weekend. W, for instance, coming through supply. If you didn't get this today, you may not even be able to get it at all tomorrow unless it opens on support. It's these kind of trades that break through supply. That's exactly what we're looking for. Now, I know that prices broke before, but the thing is that it closed up here. This is the kind of trade that it closes right here, and then it opens up like 10% higher, and you don't know what the fuck happened, right? You have to get the trade when you can. There's no reason why you couldn't get this trade today. I think we've actually already been talking about this trade a little bit. There's a couple charts that are like this as well. You got to take that trade when it's there because it's almost impossible to. How do you buy this tomorrow if it doesn't open on support? We convert these to green. How do you buy this tomorrow? You can't. There's literally no way to do it. You have to wait for a pullback, right? Unless you somehow are gonna buy on the trend line, but it's a little too. It's a bit too high up there right now to do that, right? So again, there's plenty of reasons to be buying just about anything today, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. Viacom continues again. This sector, Viacom, Roku, Foxconn. There's a few others, right? We talk about all climbing still. Viacom still going. Now this candle right here is a pretty bearish one. And look at the after hours, down 3 hours. What's this candle here? Anyone know what that candle's called? I'll let you guys figure it out, but there you go. Nice little bearish candle there at the top, leading to downside. We'll see what this looks like tomorrow. It shouldn't fucking matter. Not going to matter. So, but the point still stands that was a bearish candle. There's some factors to take profit there. We'll see. Roku, the trade from Friday over here at the dip, I think is a great trade. And again, it's the same as the other charts, but the timing, it's so hard to time things. But when you have a moment like Friday where you can buy at the low here, get confirmation of today, it's very unlikely that you return and have to get stopped out down here. So you're able to push this trade. Again, look at same sort of double bottom pattern as the rest of the charts, and you have a lot of upside up here that you have no true supply because this chart's all about the trend. This could just be transposing the trend line over here. This could be the low, and you could be capped. Again, this is the point I want to make here is you don't take profit today on this chart. You don't take profit on this because look at your upside. This is significant upside. So from the low here, that's 45% to the high over there. Yeah, I'm going to push it through there. Yeah, I'm going to push it through there. Right. I'm going to push it through there. What was the other chart there's one more chart I wanted to mention. Oh, so the charts from from the weekend, right? Things like Pepsi here. This whole side of things has continued to do very well. This transportation, distribution, and then sort of I've talked about retail stores, but on the food and beverage side have been doing well. So this sort of in between of Pepsi, If you guys remember Coca-Cola like a few weeks ago, looking at those charts, all of these are sort of coming through right now, and they are operating completely outside the rest of charts. They look nothing like the rest of charts, completely their own velocity, and I think today's a good confirmation. This kind of move is very much, it can lead to very quick pricing, and so you could honestly be up here to the 144 mark almost this week. It's very much look at some of the pricing over here. You get some weird volatility in this level already, but it's the fact that it's not moving on an average. Everyone can see when things are not moving on an average. This is a great trade from today. I mean, if you could get it from Friday, sure, but we don't trade like that. We trade on the breakout, so I think that's a great trade there. That's a great trade there. Again, the rest of trades are we're sticking with the value play, of course. We added new growth tickers this week, from really end of last week, coming into this week and getting some confirmation that they look pretty good. We're not trading the average still. We are trading individual tickers and trying to capture the biggest move possible. One thing to think about, I mentioned it a little earlier, is let's say from the financial crisis, you could, if you look in hindsight, if you are buying at a bottom, do you want to buy some of the SPY, or do you want to buy Apple, right? You would buy the specific company because you would be making like tenfold of the average, right? We always trade the individual tickers themselves, and especially on the option side, you are just, it's just not even close. It almost feels silly sometimes. Probably on a day, I'm going to look at profit section right now. On a day like today, it becomes very silly sometimes that you can buy a trade at open, and by close, you're up like 100% on a big name ticker. That it shouldn't really work like that. And that's where, when I talk about the stock market being a derivative of of the option market, it almost is like a joke. It shouldn't be like that. That's the whole point of the saying. The whole point of the underlying really being the derivative, or excuse me, the options market really being the underlying instead, is that it shouldn't be like that. The options market should just be for hedging and insurance, and shouldn't be for speculating and betting, but it is. And so, again, take advantage of it when you can, and that's where we're at, right? Let's see. All right, I'm going to take a look. D-Trader, minus 400. He bought at close, he says. Okay, bought at close. Interesting. Brian, minus 30. Up midday, end of day, sell push through. Okay, not sure the exact circumstances there. LSU, plus 165. Okay, it's a nice day. I see a lot of break-evens today. Spoon, minus 0.2%. Okay, the 20 basis point. Okay. Meant with the plus 56. Okay, so a lot of break-even today. Interesting. I'm guessing this is a lot from some value trades from the end of last week that are still being sort of beat around sort of here, but I feel like everyone probably exited immediately. Let me see. What were people in today? Well, the Dow was up, so you didn't lose on the Dow. Small caps, you could definitely get hit by those small regional banks from today, but we actually opened higher to start the day. I'm guessing just travel. I'm guessing travel. What else did we have? This was up. Yeah, energy got hit again by crude. Which again, we're gonna let now crude. See, this is the problem. You see the difference between these two? That's the problem. That's the problem. All of a sudden, we're not on the same schedule, which, again, as soon as something like that happens, we talk about this idea when price do actually get attached to things and why we would or would not take a trade because of that. Sort of like when a sector got tied into growth, like semis, for instance. We were trading semis, and then all of a sudden they get They got hit on the growth side, and they started to get taken down from an average, right? This now all of a sudden, we're not a part of any of those numbers. Like, okay, so again, no problem getting stopped out there. I didn't take a trade again on this today, right? Doesn't make any sense to. The trade from Friday coming to this week, it's a good bet to put on. We didn't get paid on it this week. We'll see how this turns out now. Now this is coming into a consolidation. Now we get a consolidation. Again, this is a fucking massive move that we've only had one take profit day. We had one take profit day in 2 months, right? A month and a half. This is finally our consolidation. We'll see what this turns out to. This is tightening here. And if it jerks up tomorrow because of the crude index, that would be kind of silly, but nothing we can do. We're not going to play that game, right? Not going to play that game. Ecto says, IWM from a bottom tick on Friday. Took a hit from the bank. Yeah. So the banks definitely got hit on this side, which, again, it's the problem on this side would be, again, from entries, because they put so many points on so quickly that they're going to have take profit days. So if you end up buying later in that trend, you're going to get hurt on a trying to manage it does not become easy. It becomes much harder. So again, a lot of the move in a lot of the buying comes down to how well you timed the buy. How low were you able to buy on Friday for some of those tickers, and then based on where they opened, how were you able to deal with that? How were you able to figure out, okay, I need to get out of this position? It's not usually simple, and a lot of times you end up getting stopped out. I got stopped out on probably 50% of anything I entered on Friday that was on the value side, right? Just because, again, you're trying to buy a low, which we'll find a better low then. We'll find a better low, right? Again, this is the average. This is not a good example, but let me bring it over to XLF. This is not going to be a good example either because of the big banks, but we try to find a low to buy. So for instance, on Friday, we want to make banks because, again, get support here. We're going to buy in. We put points on, right? We actually put points on from the low. We put almost 1% on this. Regional banks small caps put a lot more points on from the low. Some of them put like 3-4%. Some of them were a little bit more than that because we had a lot of movement. And then you push it over the weekend, of course. A lot of those points help actually cover risk over the weekend, so that when this happens and you get stopped out at open, you've already you've put enough points on that you'll get stopped out at a break-even price, right? This is going to happen. We'll find a better low, right? We will find a better low, but you can't tell yourself that you can't take the trade, right? That's an important part where sometimes this will happen. And sometimes even today, we went into growth today and growth could be down tomorrow. And then now all of a sudden you have 2 days in a row that you're trying to make something else work that didn't work and you'll lose confidence. Again, this is a good part where you have to be consistent and you have to stay disciplined with a strategy and realize that every time you make the trade, you're looking for something like this. We did the same thing over here. I bought on this day and then we were down and then I bought again and then I was able to push it for the next month and a half, right? It's not always going to be the first entry. Sometimes it takes multiple. That's, again, where it's important for some of you that have not, you just kind of break even and barely in profit, right? Fighting, surviving. That's the part of the process, right? And it's a good time to learn the confidence part where you just stay confident and realize that, okay, variance, not always going to get everything. And sometimes you make the wrong decision, but it's sticking with the plan and sticking with it and making it again. Do it again. Don't stop yourself from buying at a low, right? If you stop yourself from buying on every low, you'll never be able to buy at a low. You'll always be buying and chasing momentum, right? Think of how many low trades that we bought that are paying off, right? All of them. Fucking all of them, right? There's barely been any that we haven't bought at the low. And if you don't buy at the low, then what are you doing, really? What are you actually doing, right? And that's, again, what we made for trades. That's what we made for trades from Friday into this week. Bought Apple at the low. Imagine trying to buy this at the close today, and you're down tomorrow. Doesn't make any sense. Again, you try to buy it at the lowest point you can without, putting too much risk on, right? But you have to consistently do it, and it's not always going to happen, right? You're not always going to be able to get the win. It's just more times than not, right? Making more than you spend, right? The usual. But I think there's certainly a confidence thing there that if you keep making entries and then they keep failing and you're like, well, what am I doing wrong? Sometimes it's just you're in the wrong spot, and it's not unlucky, but it's going to happen that you're going to get trades that are not going to pop right off immediately. You got to know when you have to get out of those positions, when they're not really going to become profitable, and when you're trying to overtime things. And it really comes down to again, some of the problems I'll just make for the last comment. Those of you that, again, a lot of you need to just fucking learn, right? A lot of you that it doesn't profit does literally does not matter, right? As long as you're not losing money, the gaining money part doesn't matter because you're quite literally just trying to learn and consume as much information as possible so that when I talk about it only takes one trade, because it literally will only take one trade. You put $5,000 on a trade and you get 100%. Now you've got 10,000. None of the other trades matter at that point, right? It just to get to that point and then turn that into another trade. It's getting to that point, right? Could take a long fucking time. It could take just a lot of work. It depends, but it's really getting to that point, and you have to just trade and continue to build confidence, learn it. And so some of you are still going through that, so it doesn't really matter. I don't really care if your profit's up or down, and you shouldn't either. The best thing you can do is never look at your P&L. Honestly, just fucking trade. Half the time I don't look at the P&L. I honestly don't look at P&L. I actually don't even have enough room to look at P&L because I'll be in a lot of positions and I have no fucking clue, up, down. I just see it's green or red, right? And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because if I get stopped out, I get stopped out, and I'm trying to then time my exits off of managing trades and trying to squeeze as much out and push it to the utmost risk that I can. Heater it right on the edge, right? You're just gonna have to just keep trading, and again, you'll get to a point where it's not that it clicks, but you'll get consistent. And the only way to get consistent is to keep trading. Some of you barely made any trades, right? You're still just watching price. That will never prepare you for actually doing the trades. Sometimes you just got to trade through everything, right? Doesn't mean take bad trades. There's plenty of times we're on the sidelines, right? I mean, last year was the only question was, when should we be on the sidelines? Oh, going to be on the sidelines today. That was all last year, right? Right now it's, oh, I just need to buy something, right? It's what we've been doing for for a long time now, right? Oh, just got to buy something. Think about these ideas. That's what we got today. Excited for tomorrow. It's going to be really interesting to see if we get where the line is drawn between take profit in a historical sense and continuing the move to the upside. I'm betting on further upside action this week and into next week and beyond that. Again, it's not about like one day or like the next 30 minutes. Like I always say, you're making trades from Friday, from today, not for tomorrow. You're making them for the week after that, right? So again, you could get take profit tomorrow, but you entered at the low of today. You bought it open today on Apple. You can lose 1% tomorrow and keep pushing that trade because you're still up, and you can keep pushing it, right? You didn't make the trade for the take profit tomorrow. You made the trade for all the buying that comes the day after that, right? I'm still expecting more buying tomorrow. If there is take profit tomorrow, what I'll say is we're going to be looking to buy some of that as well if the lows are higher, right? There's going to be opportunities on the EV side. We're chomping at the bit to buy some of those. We'll see. I'm going to have a lot of charts this week, a lot of double bottoms, right? Should be some interesting charts today for new things that we can buy. Either way, it's a good time. It's a good time for some of you to get your beak wet and start to just buy anything. And I know a lot of you hate value and you want growth. Well, welcome. We're about to get the tech. The tech is back in, right? Growth is back on. As long as we sort of keep the feeling of today, right? It may not. I would say it's going to continue to trend, and we're not going to get the yield problems now that FOMC is out of the way. But you never know. Earnings coming back up later on. We'll see. Don't bet against it, though. I wouldn't bet against it. Don't do it. I will see you guys in the morning. Enjoy your night, your morning, your evening, wherever you are.